G'day everybody, and we've got some patch notes from Atlas once again, the latest set of content for the game. I guess the crux of this content is the thing behind me here and kind of those things over there. It's the Industrial Wonder content. We've already basically touched on things like the lava geysers and things like that, where this one's actually working quite nicely. We've got the orichalcum coming with the industrial smithy. There were geothermal vents and things like that. I guess first up, the tame house that was meant to be in the last patch is coming in this one, where you'll basically be able to put 20 quadrupeds into the tame house. It won't be all creatures, only quadrupeds specifically. Bears, cats, cattle, crocs, elephants, giraffes, horse, lion, monkey, pig, rabbit, rhino, shield horns, sheep, tigers and tortuga. And after obtaining Beastmaster 2 is when you'll be able to make the tame house in the smithy. Other than that, I guess before I get stuck into stuff like this Industrial Wonder content, I should probably mention that there was something about Xbox in here, but it was very, very minimal. So most of the people who were very interested in the Xbox when they're looking at these patch notes, because I get quite a lot of comments about it, they've basically said that they've improved memory loading and unloading for the Xbox. They haven't really mentioned specifically what series that's for, other than to basically say additional improvements are coming in the next patch. A little bit of a cop-out in my opinion, but you know, I guess it's nothing new for you Xbox players as it stands. Hopefully, and it's always every single patch you say hopefully they'll put something out in the next patch, but yeah, that's all we can say at this point in time, and hopefully one day they'll be able to find out what's going wrong and the Xbox will get a little bit of love and maybe be able to play the game as it should be. But right, so the stuff around the Industrial Wonders content. Let's have a look quick through the notes here. There's basically a bunch of stuff like that building over there. So I've actually built the industrial smithy, but in things like the lava vents, once you collect a number of items like the brimstone, the pure sulfur, and metal and wood, albeit the orichalcum actually works as metal, so just bear that in mind. If you don't want to actually use the orichalcum, you probably want to swap it out. But I have the industrial smithy in here. It's got a nice little rusted look to it. And inside this I basically have a number of the bits of content. And you'll have to delve into, I think it was the secrets of building. You can actually have a look in there. So the industrial stuff, oh no, it's a bit further down, is it? Metallurgy. Yeah, metallurgy, you can see it there. So yeah, you get the industrial smithy, the explorer statue, poverty statue, the generator, and the other stuff that goes with the statues. So you'll need to build, at least for the statues, you're going to need to build a base, which is that large circular piece. You then need to build a framework. The framework has a description that says that it will take 24 hours before that is ready to place. I'm pretty sure I've had that down for more than 24 hours and I still can't actually place my statue on it. Something may not have gone quite right. I am mucking around on the test server, so yeah, something might not be quite right that will be right when it actually goes live. I'm not entirely certain, but you can actually see here the scale of the statue, right? And so it does actually fit quite nicely in the framework there, and unfortunately this one's facing the wrong way. But if some people might actually recognize this statue, there's actually an island which actually has this statue. I've got a little fist bump picture, maybe I can dump it on the screen, and I do like the island that has this little fist bump man. So it's a nice bronze statue, and this one's almost like a little Abe Lincoln-ish looking one with a Hydra pistol by the looks of that. But yeah, you get two statues that you can place down. Do the statues actually do anything, is the question. The statue commemorates the pathfinders that explored unknown waters and lands first. The image motivates you and your crew to work more efficiently. Doesn't actually say anything about what it actually does. Of course not. We're going to have a look at the industrial generator soon. But no, I can't see that it does anything. They're just statues. Although I don't mind just having statues. They're actually, you know, cosmetic features, and they're, given the size of them, they're possibly a little bit too large. It'd be nice to have some smaller ones that you could decorate your ports with and things like that. But yeah, it's there. This is the industrial generator. So if we go over here, this has actually been sitting here for a while, so it's got its charges. And so we can hold down E, so we can burn sulfur, burn pure sulfur, burn orichalcum, what do we need there? 100 orichalcum, we need 100 pure silver. It's got 300 charges standardly, so once it's actually full. And you can burn brimstone. 150 brimstone requires 200 charges. And I believe what this is going to do, once you actually get that actually going... Can you hear something walking there? Oh, we've trapped all this. Very good. It will basically layer the area with whatever you're burning, and it will give you a new resource. And we have to go quickly run down into the industrial smithy to show it off. So in here we actually have new gateways and large walls, and there's a sulfurized version and then there's an orichalcumized version, and they will do different things. One's basically impact damage resistant, so if you're trying to hit it with something, and the other one is explosive resistant. Right? And so depending on which thing you run in the industrial generator, the rocks in the area will be able to either harvest that orichalcumized rock, or you'll be able to harvest the sulfurized rock, and that will then allow you to build these things. Yeah, and that's basically what's going on there. We can probably actually do an experiment with one of these. Let's grab some orichalcum. Trying to remember, orichalcum was known as the godstone, or something along like that. I can't remember exactly the law that goes with it. We're going to burn orichalcum and 150 charges. Boom. Wow. Yeah, it does have an inventory. Burn orichalcum. Off it goes. Is there no visual? Well, that's unfortunate. No visual, but alright. But as you can see, we're now getting orichalcumized rock, and I'm using a 300% hatchet here on like the times 10. It is the test server, so I just got an absolute crap load of it. Stone with a reddish orichalcum film over it. And yeah, you can then use that to create your new walls and gateways, which adds a new dimension, I guess, to the way you actually build your defenses, as they're planning on making them either impact or explosion resistant. Alright, next up is, I guess, some new map stuff that they're basically talking about. We've basically got the trackless waters and the unknown depths, as far as things go. The trackless waters is off the west coast of South America, and you'll basically find a portal there. The unknown depths is a hidden tundra which can be reached via portals found in Africa and Antarctica. And that's pretty much all that's going on there. Other than that, we're really looking at a list of bug fixes. Something to do with the industrial hydra and rifle. They're now affected by the lucky low defeat. Farming structures not having areas of influence. Cursed armor needing multiple types of bone chips. Really? Yeah, fair enough. Transient nodes not moving weakly. Snapping pillars working incorrectly. Snapping pillars working incorrectly. That's an interesting one. I wonder if they've been fixing some stuff with the snap points. It only mentions pillars there from what I can see, but interesting. NPC crew stats not updating correctly. Players losing functionality when standing on a ship while it is released. Oh, that was always a fun one. Maybe I can shove my clip of my character losing its body when I released the ship and got flung off it. Wow! Whoa, whoa, whoa. What happened to my character? Instances of the broadside are losing cannon functionality on logouts. I haven't seen that one, but you know, it obviously was a thing. Wood not being able to be rebundled. The rowing module displaying incorrect point value. Misspelling of Carrick's description. The fog of war in single player was not working correctly. Yes, I remember seeing that. You have to zoom right in and you would get your entire grid that you were on, but the other grids were not working. And you'd use the give fog of war command and it wouldn't really do anything. Blueprint gun ports were not doing more damage than common. Oh, they weren't. I remember someone testing that and saying that it didn't really seem like they were. Like the originals were doing the same, if not more, than the blueprints. It's interesting to see. Pegasus would sprout tentacles. Yes, I'd heard that. The Pegasus would revert back to its Kraken state and end up with tentacles all over it. An issue while whistling at the turtle ship's emergency ladder. Instances where the wood catwalk was not buildable. Yes, That was a regression issue where the catwalk had disappeared once before. The issue of placing Mythos in the progress table. The map zoom indicator in some regions. Fixed instances where players would contact invisible geometry inside of the portal. Oh yes, I had that. I have a short somewhere where I just zoomed into the middle of the portal and you hit something that's in the middle of it and stop. That's the end of it. Fix various typos. Replace the placeholder of the Art of the Tamed Cargo's railing. Extra emergency ladder for the turtle ship. Fixed instances of negative storage space in some structures. They need to do the negative storage space on tames as well, because that exists. And if you have the negative storage space on your tame and you find that your tame's moving incredibly slow, all you need to do is put an item in its inventory and make sure it has a positive weight value, and all of a sudden it'll go back to moving properly. That's the workaround at the very least. Instances where the sarcophagus was unable to be built. Essence's power location. Fixed essence of power locations. Were they bugged, were they? I haven't actually bothered to get to the essence of power for quite some time, so I wouldn't be surprised if there was something along those lines. A visual issue of overlapping holiday vendors on Freeports. I remember reading something about that because I had a question from one of the guys around the vendors in the Freeport. So we'll just scroll down on my stuff because that's where we get up to the Xbox stuff in the list, but that's fine. Single player character deletion is working correctly. Multiple UI fixes. Deleted duplicate entries into skills. That's all well and good. Remove the industrial smithy from the sulfur pits. Okay, so this I'm just having to get lucky then that I was at a lava vent rather than a sulfur pit. Fair enough. The compass glowing effect has been modified to be more in line with the icon. Commodity vendor. Yeah, this is the one. Someone was looking for the resource vendor at Tortuga, but it didn't actually exist. Apparently now it's back in. So if the person who was asking me all about the commodity vendor is watching the video, apparently in the next patch you're going to have that resource vendor at Tortuga, and you won't be forced to be stuck with the weird travel back to the old, or the Rookie Cove vendors, where once you're there you kind of have no gold to buy the stuff and then you can't get back out again. Well, you can get back out again, but you can't take your gold back in, so you end up with this whole little bit of a catch-22. Reverted blueprints to their original colours. Now this is one of the most asked for things once it actually happened. They had all those suggestions for the Q&A, and this was probably the most voted up thing in the all the suggestions. They've gone back to the original colours, but they've changed, I guess, the hue and the accent and the brightness, and they've just tweaked the colour so that it's easier, or in their mind, it's easier to read. I haven't looked too closely at it at this point in time, but yeah, they've tweaked the colours once again. We can probably, well, I have got the mythic metal hatchet in my inventory, so that's actually fine. So what we can probably actually do is a metal hatchet with quality 2, see what I get. That's a common. Give 5. What do we get? We got a journeyman. And what does journeyman look like? It's gone back to that dark blue. It's probably a little bit different. It's not crazy different though. What does 8 give me? We got fine for quality 8 and it went backwards. So that green, I guess, is a slightly darker green in its imagery rather than the bright green that was there before. Gonna give me a masterwork. Well, I've got a legendary. And again, well, legendary, that's pretty much the same. It's nothing really that crazy. Can you give me a journeyman masterwork? Come on, where's the masterwork? There's a masterwork. Alright, and yeah, purple. It's a darker hue of a purple rather than a bright purple. But you know, the colours are roughly back to where they were at beforehand. Alright, well, we're done with that part of it. Where are we in the list of things? The bowler is now stackable up to 15 per stack. After, oh, here's another interesting one that they've added in. So if you do the rejuvenation, so you go to the Fountain of Youth 3 times, you will no longer pass the age of 20. So you won't have to keep doing the Fountain of Youth to refresh your character. And if that's actually particularly the case, they could actually bring back the debuff for the character when they actually get old and make them a little bit more frail. And it'll actually make people want to go and do the rejuvenation quest. Because other than the character looking old, well, they haven't actually done anything about this yet. It was mentioned that the lava doesn't actually do any damage. And it still doesn't. Fix the descriptions of multiple items. The Pegasus can now turn while stationary and in reverse. Oh, would have been a bit rough if it didn't actually do that. Alright, we're on to the end. Alright, stone cannot be rebundled. These are known issues. Breaking down bundles produces a different type of resource. Some error messages are not appearing. The industrial statue framework shows up as a burial mound framework. Boom, 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 boom. Burial mound framework. It sure does. Foundation and framework have no time limit. Well, it says it's got 20 on when it can be picked up. Ah, right, yeah, I can still pick that up. I don't want to pick it up though. I want to see whether if tomorrow it turns out that I can actually place my statue. And the orichalcumized and sulfurized large stone gateways are not affected by the burn brimstone ritual. Oh, the burn brimstone is something different, huh? What's burn brimstone do? It doesn't actually say in here, does it? Burn brimstone. What does it do? Skills. Industrial forge. Where are you? Oh, there it is there. Large crude leaves a residue depending on what it burns. Okay, that's not really telling me very much, is it? Maybe it had it back up there in the patch notes and I just skipped over it. Let's have a quick look for it. New craftables, industrial generator unlocked at the metallurgy crafted industrial smithy. Rituals available. Burn brimstone activates a buff on the orichalcumized and sulfurized wall and gate variants for a short amount of time. Activates buffs, but you don't say what the buff is. I guess people will just have to experiment and see what happens. Boom, boom. Hang on. I thought I activated it. Burn orichalcum. Turn. God, I'm curious now. Ooh. That's one way to make myself overweight. Go away, rocks. Here we go. Charge. Let's scroll down to the bottom patch notes. I'll keep reading the known issues while I go and build a large stone wall and get caught on all the geometry. Large weight sails still require tuning. That actually probably makes sense. I've been having issues with the large weight sails. It's like medium weight sails are more effective than the large ones. And lastly, Pegasus has turning issues. You still need more orichalcumized rock. Gimme. Dunk. Whoa, look at that wall. There we go. Orichalcumized large stone gateways are not affected. Okay, because we need some brimstone now. No, apparently I need to wait for the orichalcum to finish burning. Alright. We still have orichalcumized rock coming. We have a second industrial generator. I was just going to see what happens. I need the brimstone. Yeah, give me a brimstone. Done. Yep, still getting orichalcum. Done. So pop you in there. And we burn the brimstone. Burn brimstone is active. And orichalcum is still active on the island. I wonder what happens if you actually do the other one at the same time. Will the game get confused that you've got the both buffs at the same time? What does this get? It's got health of 70,000. I didn't look to see what it was beforehand. It's me editing over the top. I did go back and have a look at what it was, and it was 70,000 prior to the buff, so you don't actually get to see what the buff is. Anyway, I think that's pretty much going to do it. That's the patch notes. That's what's coming. And yeah, once again, lots of new content. Pretty much a copy of the Army of the Damned. Well, it's not, I guess, a straight copy, given that we got large walls and stuff like that, and the statues. But the idea is that they're doing industrial content around the Wonders. And we had the Army of the Damned Wonder-themed content. Whether or not we get Atlantean-themed content, I don't know. Again, the cello hasn't really been kept up to date, and it needs to be kept up to date if we're going to know when the end is for all of this new content, and we know that the bug fixes are happening in earnest. Obviously, a lot of the bug fixes this time seem to be a hell of a lot of cosmetic stuff, although there was a few in there around some of the things like ship turning and things like that. But yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how these get used, like the walls and things. They seem to be, obviously, they're keyed specifically for PvP content. So impact and explosion resistance. Then you get things like these statues, which are just a really nice cosmetic. So you got your PvE content. And then there was the fact that they were looking to bring in 7 new bosses for the each of the Power Stone Islands. So again, you know, a significant amount of PvE content, which is actually quite good. And yeah, I like the idea of bringing in PvE content that people can fight over. So it's always good to see stuff like that coming in, because it works in for both PvP and PvE. The PvE people get their new content and things to look at and do, and it gives something for the PvP people to actually fight over. It's just whether or not these large walls, because large wall spam is already happening. Yeah, how they'll resolve large wall spam to go with pillar spam, to go with other spam, is going to be interesting to see how they optimize that one. Anyway, thanks for listening in. Here's the patch notes once again, and yeah, let me know what you think down in the comments, and I'll catch you in the next one. See you later.